Namaskar. Welcome to Ek Samvaad at Arunima Ankuran. Today we are in conversation with IITian Manas about life lessons from school at Ramakrishna Mission Vidyalaya, Narendrapur. Manas is Vice President Mahanagar Gas Limited, and we are going to look at the lessons that he learned in school which have brought him all this way in life. So warm welcome to you, Manas. Thank you so much for being on Ek Samvaad.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Pragya, for bringing me here.
A word about Arunima Ankuran. This is an initiative for positive social change through self-development. The goal is greater well-being and happiness for all. At Arunima Ankuran, we believe that each person is unique and special in some way, that each person can make a difference, that each person can have an impact. That's what inspires us to keep going. The Ramakrishna Mission Vidyalaya is an integral part of the Ramakrishna Mission Ashrama, Narendrapur, which has its headquarters at Belur Math, Howrah, West Bengal. Since its opening on 22nd April 1958, it has been a residential school for boys established on the foundation of the high ideals of Swami Vivekananda. We want that education by which character is formed, strength of mind is increased, the intellect is expanded, and by which one can stand on one's own feet. We are really fortunate to have Manas here. He's a student of this illustrious school. He's a chemical engineer from IIT Kanpur, MBA from IIT New Delhi, and accomplished result-oriented business leader with 32 years of extensive experience. Manas is presently working with Mahanagar Gas Limited. He has earlier worked with GAIL India and Kuwait Petroleum Corporation in various leadership roles. He also set up a boutique consulting firm named Value and Dow Consulting. He did his schooling from Ramakrishna Mission Vidyalaya, Narendrapur, which is inspired by Swami Vivekananda's values and teachings. He's the author of a book, Natural Gas Markets in India. Guest faculty at Rajiv Gandhi Institute of Petroleum Technology, NTPC School of Business, Chandigarh University. Outside of work, plays many musical instruments and also practices vocal music. I think all of this and so much more we are going to talk to Manas about today. So again, welcome to Ek Samvaad, Manas. So let me start with the first question. What are some of the earliest memories of school you have? And of course, in the course of this conversation, we are going to talk about the impact those experiences had on your life. So yeah, how was the initial experience? Tell us.
Okay. For kid, when I joined Ramakrishna Mission Narendrapur, when I was in the class of 5. So I was just really a kid that time, and if you understand the child psychology in general, that period, all of us need a little bit of pampering and being close to our parents and all. So at that stage, the first memory that I had is, of course, I wept a lot, I cried a lot when the first day I was there. My parents left there, so that's the first memory that I had. A kid where just coming out of the comfort zone and in a really new atmosphere. So that was the first memory where, of course, not only me, most of my friends were up in that mental state that day. But then, it remains there for some time. But once you have so many friends, after that, I now, the character that I have possibly is kind of the way I have been grown, that the friends means a lot to me, so I'm more open to friends. I love friends, company. That's what I really look for, and that is the first thing that I had in, as if I remember that way. But then on top of it, what is more important is, the discipline that we had been through. I'll just give you some glimpses of it. Everything was very much time bound out there. So I remember that in the whole batch, there are many hostels out there.
Hmm.
So the kids were given responsibilities of everything. Somebody would be given a responsibility of the cleanliness, somebody for the prayer hall, somebody as in charge of the bhavan. We used to call the hostels as bhavan. Somebody would be for the cleanliness part of it. Somebody would be, a team would be there for serving foods to the batchmates and all. So we had huge dining halls, study halls and prayer halls. So all of us throughout that hostel life have been given specific responsibility for that particular month, and it was kind of a rotating responsibility. But what was very important was that everything was very much time bound.
Hmm.
Somebody would have the timekeeper would be given a big bell, a little heavy one for to a kid to carry, but
Hmm.
his responsibility also would have been given a alarm clock.
Hmm.
So with time, he would go along the verandas and wake everybody
Hmm.
up
Hmm.
for the morning, and everybody to get to the prayer hall or study or the dining. So everything was very much time bound. So that is what the first thing that it though at times it becomes a little bit of rushing through the exercises and all. Now, for example, when we used to get up there at morning 6 o'clock, so morning 6 o'clock and night 10 o'clock, lights off. You have to be very much there, and no lights on beyond night 10 o'clock. So that's the kind of a tight duration that we had. But on top of it, playing was very much compulsory every day. All of us need to be there on ground playing either football or cricket.
Hmm.
uh, all of us need to be there in the study hall. Study halls were there in every bhavan. So whether you are feeling good or tired or whatever, you have to be there in the study hall. uh, Very interestingly, if you understand the child at that particular mindset, uh, we used to play a lot, and we are very tired. Some days we are trying to, we were there in the study hall, but as a kid, maybe you are not very focused onto your study. So, but the
Hmm.
wardens would, come by and then, make us aware of it. So, but at the same time, that discipline also made us kind of this is one part of the story, but then too much of discipline of course is not good. So we also used to break some of those strict guidelines also. But not only as a discipline, but then on top of it, the value system, I would rather say that primarily we used to walk on the grounds also every Sunday. We used to go to the ground. We used to clean the whole campus, and no job was less for us. All of us were given the dinner plate and the glasses. These are all our own belongings. We used to carry those to the dining hall. We used to wash. So washing our utensils, washing, cleaning our rooms, making our things tidy. So everything was a part of a responsibility, and then on top of it, that gives us kind of a kind of respect that every job is absolutely right. That is
Yes.
one part of the story. Second is given us, taking us to any kind of a situation uh, that brings us the challenges that we had gone through. I'm very much confident that given me into any situation, I can come up the way I wanted to be there. Third thing, of course, is very important, is the value system where you respect everybody as equal. Now, on top of it, and also that you know uh, when you serve anybody as a person, you are serving God. So those are the basic things that, this may sound little odd, but those are the basic things as a child that you go through when you are through the Ramakrishna Mission way of teaching, or this thing. So that is very, very important. And of course, the other part of my interest certainly has grown out of there. The music interest, interest in music certainly is one part of it. uh, and then, if you go back to the records of Narendrapur, you will see the batches they come out. They are almost like star performers in study,
Hmm.
and most of them had done very well. If I because of the social, the instruments that we carry these days, the mobile phone we have connection. I have connection with my old friends, so
Hmm.
all of my friends are doing good. But more importantly, also the teachers make a lot of difference. We had very good teachers,
Hmm.
and I really remember my biology teacher who had good impact on all of us. And most of my friends are now doctors because the way we had been through
Hmm.
is. So this is what Narendrapur has taught me. If I look back, and I'm very fond. I had an opportunity to be there with my family some time back, some 3-4 years back, and I went through all those places. I really liked the way uh, we spent our time there. Acha, there is one more thing, that not that my the parents and students interaction were very, very limited.
Hmm.
Only during the Sundays we could meet our parents. So just remember that. I mean, just try to understand the
Yes.
way we had
Yes.
only a limited opportunity of meeting our parents during Sunday afternoon, maybe for a couple of hours or 3 hours or so.
Hmm.
Uh, and this is what we had, the parent interaction. But more importantly was the other side of it, where we had a huge number of friends with us. So I'll just pause, and if you have anything, then I can take it from there.
Yeah. So, Manas, so accurately you've described how the child must have been feeling. But then the child is the father of the man. So, Manas has been doing so many different things. And like you said, you don't feel that any challenge is too big, that confidence. So, what are some of the takeaways from those experiences? You can share some particular experiences also that have remained with you and that continue to inspire you.
This thing, let's say, for example, I'll reflect uh, what we had specifically with respect to one very important thing is that if but Vivekananda was actually a disciple of Ramakrishna. So Ramakrishna, there's one specific, very, very wonderful saying. He said, "Joto mot toto poth," means if you want, there may be many ways to reaching your destination. And there's one more thing that I would like to highlight. I'll give the context and then I'll come back to it. Uh, where Vivekananda said that jibe prem kore je jon she jon shebiche ishwar. It's in Bengali, meaning to say that uh, if you love, if you like, if you respect uh, or animals, you are serving the God. So very primary things. But the first thing I'll just come back is, there is no difference between the religions. That's the basic learning that I had. So whether you have follow any particular religion, whether you don't follow, even Vivekananda said that atheist is fine, but most important is you must have your self belief or self confidence. That is what is more important than being a religious person. What is very important is that understanding, when we realize that our path may be different, but we must respect the faith and trust or whatever of the other sect or other person. That is a very basic learning that we had. In fact, in our classes, we used to learn. I believe that is not taught in any of the other schools. We had one book on Indian culture, where we had I had studied all the religions, the basic. A kid at that time, maybe little burden for anybody, a kid, but I had been through the basics of understanding of what the other religions mean. So the differences that we see, whether we are in a different class of society,
Yes.
whether we are looking different from our skin colors, whether our belief systems are different. ultimately our alignment should be uniform, because that's the basic uh, you know uh, purpose of life. If you are serving others, you are actually serving God.
Hmm.
So those are basic things that were there. Now, on that, and then the other thing that I said, that no challenge is a big challenge. So I had been through many challenging situations in life.
Hmm.
Specifically, if I look at from the professional side,
Hmm.
I had, I had been there in a PSU for long 25 years. And maybe I'm very specific with respect to the chemical engineer as my training, basic training or study. But
Hmm.
then I tried to get to whatever opportunity came on to me. I did my MBA in 2005 to 8, international business MBA from IIFT. Whenever I could get a chance to study the next master's degree, so I did that. And wherever, whatever opportunity came to my in a professionally, I took that opportunity. I just remember one thing when I was there at the corporate office of Gale, dealing with the business development. One day, my uh, my boss, director business development, he called me up saying that, Manas, I'll be giving you a responsibility. What was that? It was kind of, those days I was doing multiple projects on acquiring assets abroad, whether it is in America or in East Africa and all. He said, Manas, this is one responsibility. We are there because of the geopolitical issues. We are closing down our offices in Egypt. So you have to be there. You close down the office, go and close down the office. So we had set up one office. We had some stake in three companies out there.
Hmm.
But then because of the issues that we had, uh, and that period, so they said, my boss said that you have to go and close the offices. So I went there.
Hmm.
I did not have any other. I did not. I don't know Arabic language.
Hmm.
I went there,
Hmm.
and the only person I could depend on was my driver, who could understand a little bit of English and could speak.
Hmm.
I was there for possibly 7 turns there. I closed down the office, and dehired the people out there. It was a very big challenge that time. But then could set up connections with the ambassador there in Egypt, and it was a big challenge. But I could come up out of that situation, and did whatever best possible that time. And when I look back, it was, I believe, the way I have been brought up, that any challenge you can really face. Another example I'll just give, the way I try to learn maybe a cultural setup, knowing other people and trying to understand their viewpoints or the way they behave. So in one such project, I was looking after acquiring an asset in Mozambique. Mozambique is in East Africa.
Hmm.
So my chairman said that we used to do give presentations to the team. So that time, possibly 15 such MPs were coming from Mozambique.
Hmm.
You won't believe, hardly maybe one or two maybe male. The rest
Hmm.
of them, they were females.
Hmm.
So once they came to the the boardroom where we are putting up the presentation, I was giving the presentation. So there was little, they were little. The lady said that I don't see much representation from the female.
Hmm.
So we are still to go the way Africans are going, because their
Hmm.
female presentation is really really good. But
Hmm.
then the story that I was trying to narrate is here is, you know uh, in the whole process, I tried to put my speech on Swahili, the language that they do. So by opening my presentation, I prepared myself at least a pager or so, translated my this thing, introductory speech to Swahili, and when I stood up, I started explaining them about the project, welcoming them. They were really awed, and they were so happy. And I have won that, the first instance itself, I won their hearts. So that's the way, when you look at, you try to understand. So language makes a lot of difference when you communicate with others.
Hmm.
The way you try to understand them, whether that reflects. your body language, your everything that reflects that how sincere you are listening to others. And that was one such incident. I really do remember that, and that my chairman was very, very happy when we concluded that project. So these are a few things that, when you look back, and so from Wendim to purely kind of a kind of a change management project. I was also part of the change management project in Gale. It was called Parivartan, bringing in change in the people's mindset, where a PSU can really be shaped to face the challenges in the market. That was the primary objective of the project that we had. So uh, we shaped the project. We interacted with our own people, trying to bring in why we really require a change and all that. So those are the experiences. If I look back from my school days to my professional work, are what I could I'm really proud of. And then again, when I took a chance of kind of once I was there and I left Gale when I was heading the marketing in the from Chandigarh office, the Northern India head office there. So then I went to Kuwait. So Kuwait is another setup where you see people from the other culture and all, right? I came back. That was a very important project on which they were developing the strategy for 2040. So, these people really are in the oil and gas industry. They work really for long period. So, 25 years, 30 years future, they're trying to look at. So, shaping the future of the company. That is what I did out there. But then I came back. I started my own venture, Value Endow Consulting. So I took risk. I took whatever opportunity that came to my platter, or whichever way. And I'm very lucky that everything could really turn good, or whatever some learning is there out of it. That is how I can.
Wow. So, Manas, when you're talking about your school life and the discipline, the importance of time, the importance of self belief, you know, there is also another element which is very important, which is the ability to focus and concentrate. Anyone, and especially in our society, anyone who makes it to an IIT, and there are so many young people who are aspiring. So can you tell us a little bit about the process, your work ethics, so that other people can take some tips from there?
Okay. So see, focusing certainly is one very important part when we are studying for or doing any work. So these days, possibly because of the social media or the way we are so much, linked with our mobile handset, and it distracts our mind. Earlier, certainly it was not there. We had, whatever we used to do that particular thing very focused way. In the school days, certainly, talking to self is very important. So, and when you are in a group, possibly you get very less time to talk to yourself. So that is one particular time where, we must have one particular time for us when we talk to ourselves. But then, as a part of it, doing meditation certainly, helps us a lot. Forcefully, we used to attend. I mean, I'm saying forcefully what, but that's not the right
Yes.
way. So we were part of the prayers morning or evening, and meditation certainly was a part of it. When we used to have prayer songs and things like that, then we used to end our prayer by maybe 10 minutes or 15 minutes of meditation. So that was one part of it every day, morning and evening. That was part of my childhood days, where being with yourself or a prayer in a prayer mood, that helps us a lot. The second thing is certainly is whatever whatever I do, I try to focus more onto it. And in fact, when I practice music, it becomes a little pain for others around me. But I'm very focused into what I try to achieve. I'm a little crazy about what I want to do. So I take too much of time into doing things, focusing on what I want to do. Whatever projects that I have with me, I do focus give full focus onto it, not that partial way of doing things. At times, it becomes a little uh, challenging because not in corporate world, of course, not you cannot have you cannot do everything by yourself. You have to have your team with you, but then the quality certainly matters a lot. So you have something in mind that this is the deliverable you want to have,
Mm-hmm.
but then you are focused. So uh, if you are focused, that becomes your basic nature.
Mm-hmm.
And for certainly for you know I'll not advise anybody for the study part of it. That is a different story. But being very focused is the key thing uh, to achieve success. That is what I would rather say.
Mm-hmm. And the other important thing, Manas, is the values you live your life by. So, in terms of integrity, talk to us about what are the core values that drive Manas.
Okay, certainly integrity uh, is one very important thing, and many challenges that you face where for all of us, we go through many challenges, and that particular time, you know. there are two ways of listening to your heart and listening to your head, so to say, heart or brain. So at times we become a little bit of emotional, and we try to have a kind of a rational of justifying our decision. But many times the heart is what we must listen to our heart. So at the back end, whatever is the right thing that gives you, many times you may feel like uh, like I would say that what is right or wrong is a decision where your heart says more than internally you feel like this is the right path. Uh, that certainly, yes, in my life also, I had taken very some important decisions where my life changed a lot. Like, for example, I would say that I was given the full freedom of North India marketing, but then I thought of having a change in my career was also driven by some kind of a where I said that this is what I need to be. I need to explore more, or somewhere I saw some challenges out there. So many times you take decisions in life, and we must listen to our heart. I would rather say, right or wrong, heart will tell you.
So, if you revisit school,
Yeah.
um, and when you meet your teachers, who are some of the teachers, and what are the memories that remained with you about them? Talk to us about that.
Okay. My teachers, they were very, very, very ideal. I would rather say, if I look back these days, the issue here is the school teachers are not really paid well. Let's try to understand the whole system the way it is structured right now. But then I have seen the best teachers I could be with, and not specific. They were not really paid well, but the ideal of following what Swami Vivekananda taught us was so important to them that more important than what they're teaching, I was more taught about what the life values are. So that's very important if I look back. And most of my teachers were the Maharajas, so to say, and the sannyasis. Few were the normal, plain family persons. But then again, uh, whether I talk about the literature, whether I talk about, I still remember it's a very simple school, but even my school days, I used to have National Geographic in our library, in the school library. So just I'm just giving a hint of it. So there was no dearth of books, and if you want, you can spend time. So that passion of knowing, the urge of knowing beyond whatever is there in the study book, was
Mhm.
certainly there. And then even that took me to the engineering college also. Though my basic discipline was chemical, but at one point in time, I was inclined to the computer science. So the way we research so much on the artificial intelligence a lot. Those days, the coding itself was a big part of it,
Mhm.
and my professor was very very happy with me when I translated those, the huge chemical reactions or the distillation columns into pure codes and simulated those. Uh, I am talking about 90s or so. I used to spend nights out there in computer center because that was kind of a passion. What you like, you will spend. You won't feel like you are tired.
True.
I used to spend nights out there, come back, maybe a couple of hours sleep, and then go back to classes also. So when you are into it, when you like it, you don't feel like it is taking out your time, or you are overstretched or overstressed, so to say. Going back to the school days, uh, as I said, games was very very important. And we also used to visit the nearby villages. There is one institute called NSS. We used to be there close to the villagers out there, helping them. We used to carry foods, distribute foods out there to the poor people, families out there. Uh, Very recently, we also hosted a tournament. My batchmate organized a football tournament out there at my school. So all my batchmates were there. So the game certainly is a very very important part of our life, and serving people out there, understanding their importance. Those are the very very basic things that I still remember. Yeah.
So, Manas, your experiences of school life have had an impact on you, surely, as a person. How do you think it would have been different if you had not been there? What are some of the things you would have probably missed out if you hadn't gone to this Ramakrishna Mission School?
I believe that uh, past or history is very important when we look back. I would not have been talking to you at this particular point. Uh, Whatever has shaped us certainly is there because of school only. I could get into pass through the competition and all, but and getting into IIT or whatever I have done in my life. Uh, but more importantly, uh, it has actually built the way of thinking in myself. That is what has been put in as a coding of my whatever. Of
Yes.
course, DNA certainly is there, but then the other part of is how you are groomed. That is very very important of your personality. So that certainly is what I am, the shape that I am in. I would rather say more important part of my shaping up is actually formed in my school days. More open to your friends, more open to discuss with others. I'm not really a kind of a extrovert person, but then I can make friends very easily. Wherever I am there, I can make friends, and that is what has made a lot of difference to me.
And were there times when you sort of wanted to rebel against the system, do
Yeah,
something,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So you won't believe all of my batchmates, not only me. You look into any pass outs from these missions, they are very very naughty. Very out naughty would be. They are notorious in terms of breaking the rules. Uh, just one story, a couple of stories. There was one such wall. The kids would to cross and go for watching cinema. So used to break all those discipline, but then go and watch movies and come back during the lunch, the dinner and period. And we used to have head counts. So if anybody is missing, our parents would have been called and things like that. So there are many naughty things that we did, and even within the within the hostel also, we used to cook for ourselves. I remember cooking Maggie when I was there in class 10. That was the first time when Maggie came to India.
Yes.
So, so we used to break rules, but then that is how we enjoy it, and those days, childhood days, we used to read a lot of ghost stories and all. That the school campus, we had jungles of bamboo jungles, and within the campus we had maybe a kind of a river or something of that sort. And then all of it is all greenery and everything within that campus. But then we used to have huge mango gardens, and maybe hundreds of such mango trees. Uh, and then some of us used to go and you know uh, climb trees and get mangoes out there. Some of us were naughty enough, and they would take white bed sheets and all to you know and before the group goes in, that person, the child would climb up there, and so those kind of stories we had. uh, we are naughty, we are very very notorious in terms of this thing, but then but at the same time, basically we are all disciplined.
So just to get a larger perspective, Manas, of course we are lucky to be talking to you. How are the other friends that you had in school doing in life? Now.
Yeah. So as I said, most of my batchmates, I would rather say 80% of my batchmates are doctors, and primarily that is because of the biology teacher that we had. He used to come to classes, and almost like stories, he would explain us all details, and made the subject so easy that most of us, we went to picked up medical as profession. In fact, I was also there. I was second rank in West Bengal medical board. Then my father said, no, you have to go to engineering. But then the teachers makes a lot of difference to us. I would specifically narrate one such story. This was in class, I believe class 7. My chemistry teacher used to give us notes. He was to wonderful notes, but then uh, he did not allow us to open textbooks. But then, as I was there, I used to carry textbook whenever he was giving any notes. I was just going through the books and all. One day he caught me red-handed, and then he punished me. But then from there onwards, chemistry is one such thing. I took a challenge. And from then onwards, I was the topper in chemistry all throughout my school days. So one such lesson, from my chemistry teacher actually shaped the way I am. So from chemistry to chemical engineering to whatever I did, but the interest or maybe kind of a punishment shapes somebody. So that is another story of it. So whether a liking of the way a person is teacher is teaching, or the punishment that we get, that becomes a very very important part of our childhood days, and that possibly shapes us a lot. Have handwriting classes. I don't know whether you have this in any other schools. We used to have periods on which we used to have handwriting classes, and focused on building because handwriting is also a personality reflection. So that is one important thing that I look back, and maybe my handwriting is not that good, but most of my friends, they really have good handwritings. And imagine 80% of my batchmates being doctors, still having good handwriting is really a
That
conflict thing.
speaks. Yes. Uh, when they wanted to reinforce a particular behavior, so reward and punishment is what
Absolutely, absolutely.
employed. How did it work in that system in your
Okay.
school?
It worked. Okay. I would rather say, see the positive thrust in management, we generally talk about theory X and theory Y.
Hmm.
Uh, the recognition uh, shapes the system or the work environment or the study environment in a much better way than certainly on the other side of it, or the discipline from the way of punishment. But generally, I'm still a follower of theory Y, which talks about having faith and trust on people. And at the right moment in time when we appreciate that, also I do in my work team as well.
Hmm.
And I have been lucky enough to have been with good bosses as well. I
Hmm.
also observe them that when they appreciate the the positive side of me to perform or meet that expectation,
Hmm.
is working much better than from a punishment perspective. In the school days also, appreciation had mattered a lot. In fact, let's say I'm just giving some examples. We used to have competition of cleanliness.
Okay.
I'm just narrating another story. When we used to have the lunch or dinner in our dining hall,
Hmm.
three of us were picked up as giving a monthly responsibility of judging how clean is our room. So they used to go to all our room. In one room, we used to be four kids out there. So they used to go and give some marks, and then month end they used to declare that this is the room that the which is cleanly most clean room. And so appreciation certainly matters a lot. Then yeah, so I was part of the Air Force NCC, and few of us were selected, and we were there in those camps that we had, interacting with other seniors and other groups from other schools. So I was picked up for as a good performer out there, and also taking part in recitation in tabla. I used to play tabla. I learned tabla there in school itself. So from there to my home, where music generally is a practice, my sister used to sing. So from there, my interest into music also was there. So appreciation, when somebody appreciated, okay, Manas, you are really doing well, that makes a lot of difference, and shapes what you want to deliver out there.
So before we conclude, just some of the habits that have stuck on from those days and you still have them.
Oh, that's a I would rather say a very important thing. Uh, we had we used to recite mantras.
Hmm.
We used to recite mantras before having food,
Hmm.
and before school, in the prayers also.
Hmm.
So even today also, when I have food in front of me, uh, I recite that mantra. So a thought process that brings there, or maybe the simple one, which is asatoma sadgamaya,
Hmm.
tamasoma jyotirgamaya,
Hmm.
mrityorma amritangamaya.
Hmm.
So those are the things which gets you from darkness to light, right? So those are the basic things. Like for example, in before the schools, we used to have Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Gunaktu Saviryang Karvavahe Tejasvina Vadhitamastuma Vidvishavahe Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti. So those are the things where teacher and students, we come to a particular objective. Want to attain a particular objective. So those are the mantras that becomes a basic, and we carry it forward.
Thank you so much, Manas, for being on Ek Samvaad and speaking to us about your experiences as a school-going boy and the impact it had on your life. Um, Anything that you would like to conclude with, something you'd like to say for your school teachers and your friends there?
Certainly, what I am is because of my teachers, and mm, and also certainly the friends are very important of your part of life. So whenever we get an opportunity, we should uh, be with our friends. And getting back to your school days is very. I mean, getting back to your school sometime or other, uh, uh, spending time and remembering those days is also very important. Our teachers, in fact. from my school days to even today also, uh, Ramakrishna Mission is important part of my life. From my college also, one of my batchmates, he has gone into, taken monkhood. Uh, so the philosophy or the teachings of Swami Vivekananda is very, very important to me. And whether I express it or not, it's there inculcated the way I am shaped. So that's what I would rather say. And certainly I uh, I look back to my teachers, to my friends, and I can only say that thank you so much for you know uh, shaping my personality the way I am.
So I have a question now, Manas, from what you just said. You know, in the present day, it would be very difficult for anyone to understand why a bright young person would choose to become a monk. And you just told us about a friend who has done
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Can you just talk to us a little bit about this aspect of the life?
Okay.
For the lay
Yeah.
person to understand that.
Right. So, okay, the person that I'm talking about is Mahan Mitra, who was there with us in IIT Kanpur,
Mm-hmm,
and he's called Mahan Maharaj, one of the very famous mathematician today. He's
mm-hmm,
still here in Ramakrishna Math here in Mumbai,
mm-hmm,
and he teaches. He's one of the best mathematician in world. I'm very proud of. So maybe the search, that is what, or the seeking that we have that is within us, everybody. What is the meaning of life, and how do you set your purpose, and where do you are actually really you are trying to find the answer, that the basic truth that we have, uh, that becomes that becomes a question to each one of us, maybe at certain phase of life. So not that forcefully somebody becomes a spiritual person, but in at all of us are spiritual to some extent, and we seek answer to many of these questions which possibly we don't see, but we try to learn, or kind of fathom the depth of truth. And that becomes very important when we Mm, and with whatever walks in life that we are in,
mm-hmm,
whether you are in family, whether you are not in family, but then the search for truth certainly is part of our life at some point in time, or possibly some of us, we get that call at early stage in life. Uh, and for some possibly it takes little time, but then all of us are we go through some phases in life, and then we try to seek answer, uh, and at the end of it, as I said when we started, that if you want to achieve God, or want to remain with God or be with God, there could be many ways. Vivekananda said there are four ways, right? Certainly, Bhakti Yoga is one such thing, where we have that Bhakti with us. The other important thing is the Karma Yoga. Whatever we are doing, being sincere to it, and you try to achieve it. So that certainly is the other way of it. Gyan Yoga, when you are trying to go through the knowledge part of it and try to attain godliness, or maybe try to reach the depth of it. So all these are paths, and the fourth path that certainly he was talking about was Raj Yoga. So reaching that end goal could have many paths, but we can pick up one of these paths, and but ultimately the goal certainly is one. So multiple ways of reaching what you want to do in life, but at the end of it, certainly uh, we all realize that the power position or anything does not really matter. It's just a journey. And so ultimately we must understand what is important to life and what is not important to life.
yes, yes. So much more to talk, Manas, I think, but we'll bring this Ek Samvaad with you to a close today. Thank you so much for being here and for sharing so much from your school life and from your experiences later on. I'm sure the listeners will enjoy getting a peep into, uh, the lessons that you learned at school also. Arunima Ankuran is grateful to you. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Pragya.
Thank you, Manas.